and good time zone. And what is up, gamers? Hi, everyone. Welcome in. Hello, hello. Happy stream to you. And I'm so sorry I'm late. I was all ready to start early today. And then my body had other ideas, as it so often does. And it was like, no, is what it was like. Just like, okay, time to unmute the mic. Oh, geez, nope, time to get incredibly queasy and shaky. Well, guess you'll be a few minutes behind today, but I'm here now. If anyone else, if anyone hasn't left in desperation at this point, because I was a little bit behind schedule getting started today, I do apologize, but I'm here now. Hello, hello, hello. It's lovely to see you all and welcome in. And oh my god, it's so freaking hot in here. I had the thermostat on because I was absolutely freezing earlier, and now I'm too hot again. Yay! Anyways, hello. Q2 says, Sammy, hi, you're a fascinating artist and a heckin' cool human. No, you. Also, hello. Also, okay, bye. Nice to see you. Also, hello, Turnip. Welcome in. Hello, hello, hello. And Q2s, thank you very much for the 3-stream steak. I hope you enjoy your 3 delicious, delicious steaks in whatever preparation you prefer, whether that be plant-based or otherwise. Excuse me. Alquill, hello, welcome in. It's lovely to see you all. Hi. So these are some birds. As you can see, I've kind of penciled them in at various angles to try and fit as many as I can into a single sheet. Ah, shoot! I missed a bit of sketchy pencil that does not want to appear in the final product. Okay, I fixed it. I'm gonna go switch off the thermostat because oh my god, I'm so hot. I was freezing earlier. Why am I so warm? I hate it. No. Okay, well, the thermostat's off, so who knows? I guess it's still just cooling down, but oh, good lord. Okay, I also have 2 hot cups of tea that I just made, so that's probably not helping, but I figured that hot cups of tea would be a good idea because, you know, I'm not feeling 100%. Have I ever felt 100%? I'm never feeling 100%. I'm in, like, a constant state of chronic question marks. Anyways, it's fine. Hello. Welcome to the bird show, where we paint some birds, albeit somewhat, you know, stylizedly like, and also speak about them, whilst I hastily look up facts about said birds from Wikipedia. There are just so many more species of robin than I ever thought that there would be, that it kind of sent me down a little bit of a hyperfixation pipeline for a while. I'm moisturizing my hands, by the way, because they get real dry. And I don't think I could ever paint all of them because there are so many. Excuse me. But I, like, earmarked a short list of, like, 30 some odd birds, and then whittled that down to 16 that I felt like captured the widest range of both, like, appearances and also geographic regions. So we have, like, all of the sort of continents that they natively appear on are represented here. So I feel like that's, you know, pretty good. Alquil says, is playing list animals until failure. Yeah! So we have four additional robins that I'm gonna paint. As you may know, I did paint a quartet of robins previously. I haven't actually posted them all to my socials yet, because I'm posting them one by one, because I'm weird like that. I don't think I have the... Do I have the just the canvas of them to hand, or did I put that somewhere else? I don't know. I'm looking for it. I have... Oh, that's an animation frame. That's a... Is that just a blank sheet of paper? And that's an art print, and that's some swatches. Okay, it might be somewhere else. But, oops. Q2 says I saw your go live on Mastodon. Yippee! I am on Mastodon, everyone, and most of what I post there is, my artwork and when I'm live on Twitch. Anyways. Turnip, thank you very much for the lurk. I hope you have a lovely, lovely lurk. Moriax, hi, hello, it's lovely to see you, my friend. And they say Sammy cruelly leaving out the Antarctic giant robin, like the rest of those mainstream science fools. Oh, don't worry. Don't worry. I'm not done. We're only halfway there. I'll get around to the Antarctic giant robin. You just you wait. Just you wait and see. I'm muting the mic for a second for no reason. If you saw what looked like the PNG tuber saying something just then, it definitely wasn't me, like, loudly and inelegantly blowing my nose in an extremely unladylike manner. Not that anything I do is ladylike, because I'm a non-beanie baby, but, you know. Anyways, oh boy. In so blowing my nose, I also plugged my ears, and now my voice sounds really weird to me. Oh, that's so weird. Oh, I hate it. Ah! Anyways, so I don't think I have a mechanism by which to show you all of the robins I've painted so far, but I can show you two which are on my Instagram. So hold 1 second. In case you're wondering what other species of robin I've painted and what they look like, I can show you two of them. But only two. That's not what it looks like. Hold. Instagram. There we go. Okay, here's one of them. This is obviously the North American robin, which not directly related to other robin species, like from a scientific standpoint. It's in a different scientific category, but you know, we also call it a robin, so I figure that counts. Like, you know, an adopted sibling is still a sibling. Ergo, this is a robin, and this belongs in the robin family, and we love them very much. This is the other robin that I have shared, who is native to my current country of residence, whereas the previous one was native to my previous country of residence. And aren't they just a cute little ball of fluff, really? I like them very much. I think they're cute. And you see them every once in a while in my neighborhood, which is really nice, too. Anyways, so yeah, we're doing 4 additional robins today. I think, did I say this is the western yellow robin, who is from Australia? This is the I have to turn the canvas every time. This is the South Island robin, who's from New Zealand. This is the, I'm going to stop doing accents now. This is the Siberian blue robin, which, surprise! Can you guess where you might find a Siberian blue robin? And this is the Japanese robin. Again, I feel like the location of this robin is like its primary territory is kind of right there in the name. Also, I forgot to finish drawing this one's foot, so I'm gonna complete this little footsie do, so it has an entire fully formed foot. Also, where's the end of your toe? So it should kind of join up together like that. Okay, wizard. That'll do for now. Anyways, I hope you've had a good week so far, everybody. Sorry, I am suddenly snuffy. Probably just because I've gone live, and therefore everything starts to go wrong all at once. That's the nature of live entertainment, though. That's what makes it fun. I'm gonna take a sip of one of my teas. This is I was actually just gonna make myself like a plain old like builder's tea today. And then as I was getting ready, I was just like, okay, I don't feel very well. I'm gonna make it, so I made a lemon ginger tea instead. And that's what this is, and yeah, it's fine. Normally I would add like a generous spoonful of honey to it. I added like a tiny amount of honey to it because I didn't want to overdo it and make myself feel worse. And I had already had like a big bowl of porridge today, so I was like, maybe just a little. And obviously I'm Canadian, so I put maple syrup in my porridge, obviously. So I didn't want to overdo it and make myself feel like, meh, if I'd had too many syrups in a day. Speaking of syrups, I hope everyone had a good Pancake Day, if you celebrate Pancake Day. If you are in regions where things other than pancakes are celebrated on that day, perhaps and I'm probably mispronouncing this, but a puchki or a semlor, all also delicious things. And I hope you enjoyed those things. If you did. If you didn't and you just had a regular Tuesday, I hope your regular Tuesday was good. I'm sorry you're seeing a phone photo on my phone, but here's what I had for Pancake Day. This is an ancient recipe from my family. It's in, I think, my first cookbook. Um, but it's like I'll probably just also post it on Discord, but also it is a modified version of the original recipe. Now this is a recipe that has been passed down through the generations. That is to say, it was in a cookbook that my mother owned and she used it regularly. And now I make the same recipe because it is just hands down the best pancake recipe, specifically for like the fluffy like Canadian style pancakes as opposed to the like flat thin crepe like pancakes that we make when we're making Hungarian style pancakes. Um, which is also a fantastic recipe. Anyways, but since I have problems eating wheat now, I can't just use like plain flour in my pancakes. And I'd made this recipe previously with just like standard like plain gluten-free flour, like the free brand stuff that you find here in the UK. And they were fine. They were absolutely perfect. Like not 100% indistinguishable, but like delicious, right? Really, really good. But I was like, you know what might be even better? You know what might be even better? Oat flour. And I happen to have some oat flour in the pantry. I've got so many different kinds of flours in the pantry now. It's wild. Um, but I used oat flour like exclusively for it this year. Can confirm it is incredible. As an adaptation, if you're making this, use 10 grams less oat flour than you would plain flour because it does sort of, it's a little bit more wholesome. So it does have a tendency to be a little bit drier. So just use a little bit less of it. So, oh my god, it was so good. So good. It helps that I really love like oaty tasting flavors. Because it did have a little bit of an oaty flavor, but not overwhelmingly so. It largely had like a buttermilk apple flavor because it's a buttermilk apple pancake. Gazillion out of 10 do recommend. I will, you know what? If I remember to do it, I will drop the new recipe in my Discord, on, when we're off stream. But for now, it's so good. Gazillion out of 10 do recommend. Anyways, and it's also really easy to make. Alquill says, I took Monday and Tuesday off so I could hide from the drunk revelers and carnival processions. Oh my goodness gracious. Yes, of course, carnival. That's also a thing that's happening. I live in pancake land, so we just had pancakes, but of course in other regions there's also carnival stuff happening. And I can see the desire to hide from that. I think I'm trying to think what's the closest thing with regard to hiding from drunk revelers that we're likely to have. Not so much in my city of residence, but I used to live in Manchester, and there were certain days where I'm just like, oh, there's a football match on. I'm not leaving the house. Trying to get a tram. This is such a deep cut. Trying to get a tram to go to the cheese shop in Didsbury when you live on the Eccles line. And you'd have to change and go past the stadium on a football match day. Oh, biddle boy, what an adventure. That is so weirdly specific, but yeah, anyways, not going out on football match days, St. Patrick's, Christmas Eve, New Year's, many others, says Moriax. Yep. I can't remember the last time I did something for New Year's that didn't involve just staying at home and probably ordering a takeaway. Like that's our usual New Year's procedure is have pretty much the same kind of like go out during the day, you know, for like a coffee and groceries before the shops close, get home as soon as possible, stay in the house, watch YouTube videos, order pizza, eat pizza, go to bed at 10 past midnight, you know. The usual. I did help throw a New Year's party in New York City once, and it was a fun time. The one thing I would contest at that party, as someone who was fairly new to, like, the vast breadth of TV's Doctor Who at that point in my life, like, I hadn't seen the entire complete collection at that this is many, 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 like, millions of years ago. And I was among people who were by and large fans, except this one guy who was, like, a friend of someone who was in attendance. But I was kind of a noob at that point to that, and I've subsequently I've subsequently worked semi-professionally as a journalist adjacent to Doctor Who, and also written short stories and a few books about Doctor Who, and essays for that matter. I think essays as well. I should probably have all this stuff written down because a lot of these books are out of print, and I really should have, like, I should be able to cite what publications I've written in, but, well, I'm stupid. I'm gonna have to troll through my emails after this and be like, okay, what books have I written for? Because there are some that I probably don't even have. Anyways, like, what was my point? Oh yeah, my point was I was at this party, and no, none of you care about this. Why am I? It's gonna bother me if I don't. I was at this party, and I hadn't seen, like, the complete, you know, sort of, like, all of the things from, like, Hartnell to, I think, Smith at that point, because it wasn't until I moved to the UK that Capaldi was announced, even. So I hadn't even seen the full breadth of from Hartnell to Smith, right? And there was this guy at the party who wasn't really, like, a fan or had seen much of it, and people were talking about this, that, and the other eras, and then he was like, oh, and then there were those films with Peter Cushing, and everyone's like, no, boo, those aren't canon. And then, like, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years later, I actually got around to watching these movies after absorbing the opinions of people who were like, no, boo, those don't count, those aren't canon. I'm like, what is wrong with you people? They're fun, and Peter Cushing's good. Like, he's a good actor. What is wrong with him? Why would you not want to claim Peter Cushing? Come on. He's great. You know? Like, what? Bernard Cribbins is in one of them. He's fantastic in it. And they're just trippy and silly, and who cares if the storyline is weird and different? Like, what does it matter? There was a point in, like, the 80s that this, like, Canadian animation production company had, like, pitched and was gonna make an animated version of Doctor Who, and honestly, from the concept art I've seen, I wish they had, because that would have slapped, and I would have loved that as an 80s kid. Are you kidding me? Oh, Biddle boy. Anyways. All of this is to say, actually, I have no idea what my point is. Oh yeah, that's the last time I think that I like hosted a New Year's party. The best part of the New Year's party, I can attest, was the fact that we ordered too many pita chips. Because we just had a bunch of, like, party groceries delivered, right? And we ordered too many pita chips. This is also the first time I'd ever had groceries delivered to a house. It's like, what? You can do that? This was like, I don't know, 2010, something like that. And I was like, whoa. You can just do that? You don't have to go to the store? New York is living in the future, because I was in New York City. Anyways. Moriac says, I can't believe... Shaking my head. Can't believe Sammy organized a party without having seen the Space Museum, Creature from the Pit, or Time Lash. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It's embarrassing, honestly. I did subsequently binge every available Doctor Who story. My parents' house still has all the DVDs I bought when I was in Canada of them. So that I could have all the commentaries and special features. Remember commentaries and special features? Sometimes the best thing about a show or a movie was the commentary track on the DVDs, I swear. I miss that. I miss that part of, like, media. Anyways. Those were the days. It feels weird saying those were the days about that, but it's true. But anyways. What was I... Beans, what was I gonna say? Nowadays I have not caught up on Doctor Who. I feel really bad about that. I watched a couple of the like David Tennant specials, and I was like, yeah, that was fun. And then I didn't get caught up at all on any of Ncuti Gatwa's run. Even though he seems phenomenal. He's a very, very good actor. And I'm here for that. I'm just tired. And sometimes when you're like, oh man, I should catch up with it. But also I'm a completionist, and I know that I'd have to watch the episodes that I missed from Whittaker's run. And I'm gonna be real with you guys. I stopped watching Whittaker's run because I really, really hated some of it. Again, she's a fantastic actor. I think she's really, really good, saddled with material I just fundamentally didn't enjoy. And here's the thing about media, is that I am a firm believer, and if you're not enjoying it, you can just not watch it. You can just choose to not engage. And then I've also heard that, the end of Gatwa's run felt really weird and bad. And knowing that makes me not want to start watching it, knowing that it's building up to something that's going to disappoint me. So, struggles. Anyways, I'll be back in a second. My moderator / spouse has just come home. Eddie, thank you for the lurk. I hope you have a wonderful lurk. I'll be back. And then maybe we'll actually paint birds. Who knows? Babe. Yeah, I know. We haven't even been live for an hour. Results. Well, it sure is. That's what gets results. Anyways, how's your day? Are you okay? Is the crisis averted? No?
It's averted, more just ignorant.
Oh.
Then you've got another.
No! Baby.
Self-induced. Not by me.
No, of course not. You are very competent.
Rolling out your paint service.
Oh.
Everybody to the group. For that reason, what doing so would trigger an email to literally everybody.
No. Oh, baby.
Why do we need to trust
You can rest. And I love you. And you gotta lie in tomorrow. Yee. And you can chill. Yippee skippy. I love you. Hi everybody, I'm back. Sorry, I had to go greet my spouse because they just came home, and we are in love, and we live together. Oh my god, they were roommates. Anyways, anywho, yeah. So that was Sammy's spicy opinions about Doctor Who hours. I should probably catch up on it anyways. There are some episodes in there, but that I'll probably really like. I know this, but
Wait, what do you want?
I can what?
What are you talking about?
Oh, there's some I should probably catch up on Doctor Who at some point, but I really don't want to have to watch the end of the Chibnall era because it made me grumpy, and then I hear that the end of the Gatwa era was not very good, which just makes me feel sad. And I don't know if I should just cherry pick the episodes that are supposedly good in between those two, or if I should just move on with my life. I mean, I've got other things to catch up on. There's 6 episodes have been released of Star Trek Academy, and I hear that that's inconsistent in its first season so far, but I can't pass any definitive opinions because I haven't seen it, obviously. But I hear some of the episodes are really, really good. So and the ones that aren't as good are just mid, and I'm okay with watching something mid. So maybe I'll do that instead. Everything's fine. The reason I brought this up was literally because of that one New Year's party that I ran, where someone was there amongst a whole bunch of Doctor Who fans and mentioned Peter Cushing, and they were weird about it.
So the postman's been.
Posty's been, yeah, and also my Benadryl's been delivered, so I'm safe. Anyways, ugh. We also had someone come around with the council asking how we're getting on with our new food waste bin. I said fine, and they gave us another bag of baggies, so that's really good.
Yeah, because we use it so much.
Anyways, so birds. Now I have to decide who I want to paint first. I'm probably gonna. I think I should have gone back to the VODs to check, but I'm pretty sure I used my like Gansai paints for these, so I'm gonna use these again for these guys. But because I'm trying to be fairly naturalistic when it comes to the colors, I can't just sort of go a little stylized and use like one palette necessarily, because that might not have all of the color variations I need. So I'm going to use both of these, and I think that what's captured here, plus just like this is just a blob of neutral tint, so it's just gray. Should capture everything that I need. And there actually is a fair amount of gray happening amongst these birds. So that should do. But this is the Western yellow robin. If you're not familiar with the Western yellow robin, the most important thing to know about it, I think, is the fact that it has a yellow tummy. So I think the first color I'm going to color in is this yellow here. If you'd like to see a Western yellow robin, I can find a picture. They're very cute. And if any like government intelligence agents are creeping on my like my internet searches, pretty much all they're seeing is like pictures of robins at this point, and like occasionally symptoms. Or like, hey, how many grams of fiber does this ingredient have in it? But here's a picture of this is the robin in question. Aren't they just adorable? Is that not an absolutely precious creature? I love them very much. I think they are so stinking cute. And looking at them makes me feel happy. And I love the vibrancy of their tummy. I love that, like, there's a few robin species like this that just have like a brightly colored tummy. The pink robin as well, which is another Australian. Trick question: robins don't have any fiber. That's true. That is true. They're not even really a good source of anything because they're so small. Honestly, like please don't eat them. Like please do not do that. But I can show you the. If you're curious as to the pink robin is one that we painted previously, but also has a similarly like colorful tum-tum. Oh my god, why is this so zoomed in? This is a 250% zoom. Hold up. There we go. That's a little bit better. This is an example of the pink robin, and you can see why I wanted to paint this one, because oh my god. How cute is that? I love them with my whole heart. They are absolutely, like, ridiculously adorable. But I mean, I think all of these robin species that we're painting are adorable, but oh my goodness. Alquill says extremely. Right? So cute. So yeah, how could I not? And they do have a tendency to pose in very, like, orb-like shapes as well, and who doesn't love a borb of a bird, right? Teehee. I love a borb, but I'm just pulling up the image search results for Western yellow robin here so that I can accurately paint this guy's a tum-tum. Oh, they're so cute. I'm gonna... sorry. Maybe I should work on things on stream that don't give me quite this level of, like, cuteness emotion. Because it is embarrassing, but here we are. Okay, so I'm just gonna start with, like, a base layer of, yellow tummy, I guess. With my yellow paint. Hurrah. Oh man, this brush is dying. I talked about wanting to get a new brush to replace this one, and then I just plain forgot about it, and now it's getting close to the end of the month and I don't have very much money. So, yay. That's gonna have to wait, I guess, but never you mind. It's fine. So I think it kind of starts, and then this is actually a slightly warmer yellow than I think this. I wish I had a slightly cooler shade of yellow for this, actually. I wonder. I wonder if I could hold that thought. I'm gonna blot up most of that, and I'm gonna see, just because like, it didn't look that warm of a yellow in this swatch. I mean, it's warm-ish, but when I put it down on the paper, I'm like, that is a really golden, like, warm yellow, and I think I want something that's a little bit cooler, because it is quite a bright yellow. But I think in order to do that, I'm gonna need something out of one of my paint tubes. So I'm gonna have to go hunting through my little boxes of paint tubes here and see if I can find. Let me do this on camera. This was green, blue, and brown. None of those are appropriate. Somewhere I have a quite nice, vibrant yellow that's not as warm of a yellow. I wouldn't say it's a cool yellow either. It's just a very primary yellow, and actually, like, this to me looks like a quite primary yellow, but it does veer a little bit too far into the almost orangish territory. So let's see, that's, oh, definitely not. That's quinacridone gold. So no, that's cadmium red. Ha! That's what I was looking for. Cadmium, yellow, lemon. I mean, if you look at this, like, the swatch on this tube versus the, like, that the camera is not capturing it very well, but this is definitely a much more, like, straight ahead primary yellow than this, which in contrast to that almost looks orange, even though just to the naked eye before I was like, that's yellow. Colors are wild. And again, I barely need any of this, and I'm having to take it out of a tube, which is always, I hate these metal tubes. I really do. Oh no, it doesn't want to open because, as you can see, it smooshed out the last time I had to get paint out of it, and so now it does not want to open at all because there's dry paint welding it shut. Oh no. I don't want that. When you have to try and, like, brute force it open a little bit, and the and then, like, the end bit starts to buckle, because what you don't want to do is, like, squeeze the tube at all or put pressure on the flexible metal tube as you're trying to open this thing, or it's definitely going to squeeze out, because then you put pressure on it and the pressure is going to want to release once it opens, and paint goes everywhere and it gets all bad. I'm moving this out of the way and I'm putting this here just in case it wants to make a mess. Oh, this is so scary. This is like, is this like the this stream equivalent of a horror game? Is just me trying to open a ding dang paint tube? Maybe, I don't know. The temptation is real, honestly, to just see if I can I just swatch off of the dry paint around the edge of it and have that be enough of, like, a sample to work from without having to actually open the tube? Maybe that's just what we're gonna do this time. I think that's that is what I'm doing here. I mean, this was all dried paint, so, you know, it's fine. Thank you very much. Oh, in case anyone's like, curious, the pigment number for this is PY35. Cadmium yellow lemon. It is a nice lemony hue, which is perfect for the Western yellow robin. But also deeply annoying if you want to open this damn paint tube. Also, this is chewing up my my brush even more. Okay, hopefully I've gathered enough off of this tube that I can work from it now. For the moment, I will keep this box of paint tubes to hand so I can come back to it as and when we need to add in some more, like, feathery doots and those kind of details. But for now, apologies for the earthquake. But I think at least we can get started on actually painting in this this bird's tummy. What an adventure! Uh, bet you hadn't banked on this level of fun when you clicked on today's stream. Okay, I'm gonna bring up my reference Google image search again to see where exactly does the so it kind of comes up to about, I mean, it varies from bird to bird, but it kind of fades into gray plumage at about here. So we're gonna go from that. And again, oh my god, the difference in this is so, but like, you don't need a lot of, it's very pigmented. So to be honest, I also didn't, oh no, I did lose a bristle in doing that. I did chew up my brush a little bit. I lost a bristle here, so let me just zip that out of the way. Oh my goodness. But yeah, wow, this is an intense, beautifully vibrant shade of yellow. And then we'll just kind of fade it out up into the gray that would be hanging out up there. Wizard. Just kind of feathery strokes. Literally feathery strokes. Ha ha ha, ho 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 ho, silly me. There we go. Okay, we have an extremely yellow tummy. Again, the camera is reading this as being more of a warm yellow than it is. It's like, when it says lemon, it is very lemon IRL. Like, it's very primary kind of the Y in CMYK, I guess. But there we have it. It is very pretty as well. Trying to think what the next kind of non-muddy bright color there is. And it's probably the orange on the Japanese robin, so I'm gonna tilt. I'm gonna tilt a bit. Anyways, but yeah, I hope everyone's weeks have been well. I hope that you've been having a nice time. I hope if you had pancakes that they were good. My pancakes, as I say, were absolutely heckin' delightful. In case you're curious as to what the Japanese robin looks like when it's just being a robin, please notice that I did fan its tail feathers. It's important to note that I fanned its tail feathers because it does that, and it's so cute. Hold, please. Let me find an image for you where it's doing the thing with its tail, which I absolutely, according to some videos that I've seen, it will do this like when it's like singing a song. Oh man, this picture is so small, but it gives you an idea at least. I'm sorry it's so tiny, but at least you can very much see that it's fanning its tail feathers, and it looks like it's going like, ah! But it's actually just singing its little, like, beep, 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 beep. It's cute little bird beeps. But it looks like it's going, ah! Which is very funny. But also Japanese robins are just, I think their coloring, their plumage is lovely. I like that they've got, like, the orangeness on their heads, and then also their tails. Their tail has a little blush. I think that's really cute and very lovely. And will be really fun to paint as well. I've got the perfect shade of orange for it, so huzzah to that. Yes. There are, I actually have on my short list 2 different robins from Japan. This one and the one who is the Ryukyu robin, from the island of the same name, which has a very different plumage, like, coloring type. So they look very distinct, which is delightful. And they're also just really, really cute. That one, its head is, like, black, and then its tummy is orange, if memory serves. So that's fun. Anyways. Just gonna get some, just, so if you've never seen me paint a bird before, I have a very scientific method. It's not scientific at all. It's just the easiest way to do it. I try and put down all of like the flat colors for the most part first, and then I will go in and add all of the sort of textures and details and shading and that kind of thing once all of the colors are in post. So that's what we're just what we're doing. Oh, I'm so tired. Okay, so looking at the distribution of the orange plumage here, we come down to round the beak, which is sort of a black colored beak, and then I am, and then a cute little orange face. This is going on a little bit blotchy. Maybe I need a little bit more paint. Ooh, sorry for the shaky cam. Oh. Maybe I need a little bit more orange paint because this is actually going on kind of blotchy. Like maybe my brush is too wet. But that's okay. We're happy to see a little bit of watercolor texture in our watercolors because, well, they're watercolors. What do you expect? There we go. Okay, so I've got kind of an outline of the parts of the bird that want to be shaded in this beautiful shade of orange. Just like so. And there is a fairly, it's, you know, like it's feathers. It's not a super hard line, but it's actually a fairly hard line between the orange and the rest. So I will do that here. And then looking at the tail feathers, I need to bring up that picture of the robin just wailing so I can see the way that the tail feathers are colored the same shade of orange as well, which is, it's so stinking cute. It is so cute. Also, I absolutely goofed here with my sketch, but then I didn't want to, like, I'd sketched both of them and I was like, I don't want to have to like erase and redo the entire thing. Therefore, they're just gonna have to kind of like they're touching. I'm sorry. That's gonna make my life a lot more difficult if I ever decide to combine all of my robin paintings into like a single print or like sticker sheet or something like that, because I'm gonna have to do a lot of shuffling around of moving parts, which, you know, I'd have to do anyways, because it'd be a lot easier if I designed these things natively in like digital, because I could just be like, okay, I'm gonna make sure that everything is spaced apart evenly so that it's easy to print, because, you know, printers need a certain margin of distance between objects if you're printing, say, like a sticker sheet or something like that. If they're too close together, then either the printer is going to struggle, or the thing that cuts out the stickers is going to struggle, or potentially you're just going to have stickers that are really easy to like be damaged, and you don't particularly want that. So yeah, so that's that. I have to painstakingly do all that myself at the end of it every time, shuffling things around and being like, man, why did I think it was a good idea to put that there, that kind of thing. So fun, so very fun. Love that for me. I guess the other color that I need is for the Siberian blue robin, and then kind of everything else is like brown and gray. And we'll get back to the brown and gray. All I need to put in is like Siberian. It's like Siberian blue robin, and it's like, yeah. Search engine, you know me far too well. It's embarrassing. Anyways, but they are so cute. Like, look. They're so cute. Is this picture gonna work? It's probably not. It's probably not, because oh no, this picture's from Facebook. It's gonna want to try and take me to a Facebook page. I'm not a Facebook user, so everything gets all screwy when I try to look at things on Facebook posts. Man, I hate Facebook posts. But can I just look at this bird, please? Yay, I can! Okay. Okay, y'all. Is this not an absolutely hecking adorable robin? Is this not the most beautiful little bird you ever did see? I mean, it's certainly one of them. I guess that's not really fair because we've seen a lot of beautiful birds today, but this is definitely one of them. I think it's real heckin' adorable. So, yay. Um, so I think for the blue of this is too bright and this is too deep. It's probably closer to this one, but I think I'm gonna add a little bit of this very bright blue into this more like indigo blue, and kind of try and achieve the best of both worlds of them for our blue bird. I think is probably the best way forward for that. But we shall see how well I achieve that. Anyways, oh, my brain's having a weird time today. I was reading earlier about the Catholic Church. Now, as someone who briefly attended Catholic Church as a like 0 to 4 or 5-year-old, there's a lot I don't know about it. But apparently there is some. How did this even come up? Who is like the Bishop of the Moon? And supposedly it would be the there's like an archbishop in I think Orlando, Florida, who would be the Bishop of the Moon, because according to the Catholic Church, if like a newly found territory is discovered, then the whoever is like the Catholicism boss of the region from which like the expedition that discovered this area come from is now also like the bishop or whatever of that region, which would make the Florida bishop the Bishop of the Moon, but apparently he's like, no, I'm not. But he probably is. I don't know why would he not want to be? Like, it's the moon. That's cool. Why would you not want that, sir? Are you a boring man? I don't know. Maybe he's just a deeply boring man. I don't know anything about that world, so I couldn't begin to guess. But yeah, that's the thing that I learned about today. But I don't think it's as interesting as birds. We are going to have an ad break shortly, so I think I will try and establish if this is the color I want it to be. I think it can be a little bit. I think it can be a little bit bolder, but I don't want it to be like mega bright blue. This isn't like a blue jay, which is a lighter, brighter blue. This is like a fairly indigo blue, I reckon. I feel like this photo in particular makes it look quite bright, whereas there are other photos where it's definitely more of like a somewhat subdued blue. Like, it's definitely, in every photo, is definitively blue. Don't get me wrong, but the saturation seems to depend on quite a bit on like lighting and who took this photo and all that jazz. So, yeah. Anyways, but I think we're doing okay with what I've got. So, that's what I'll go with. You've heard about the Grue Jay, right? Says Alquill. The Grue Jay. I don't. I'm good. Is this an actual thing I'm gonna have to look up on break, because we are about to run into ads. So I will take a little BRB so you don't miss anything. But we'll come back to the Grue Jay after the break. Yeah, have a drink, have a stretch, stick around. I'll be back very shortly. It's a hybrid between a green and blue jay. Oh, I see. So is it like teal? I gotta look this up. We'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. I had a very important note of housekeeping I had to discuss with my moderator / spouse before I forgot. Namely, so I have like a membership card for my local supermarket, and so does my partner. And every once in a while they will give us like vouchers for like, discounts, and there was a really good voucher for like a substantial amount of money off of a block of cheddar cheese. Unfortunately, the block of cheddar cheese that it applied to is a brick. And we are two people, and it's a lot. Especially considering we go grocery shopping twice a week, and personally, I think my doctor would yell at me if I consumed that much saturated fat in the space of like 3 days. Ergo, I proposed taking like half of that block of cheese and just grating it down and like putting portions of the grated cheese into like freezer bags so that we just have like, I don't have to put into the effort of grating cheese tonight, grated cheese at my disposal to just put on top of like, you know, beans on toast or a jacket potato or some spaghetti, you know what I mean? I think that would be nice. Also, it is the good cheese because it is strength 7 cheddar. I often find I don't know other like cheese enjoyer people, specifically cheese enjoyer people in the UK. Do you find, I find sometimes the application of the term mature cheddar is misleading because I'll be like, mature cheddar, that's going to have, you know, a reasonable amount of like flavor and be kind of crumbly. And then you have like a mature cheddar and it's like, it's quite bland. And you're like, I'm not sure I'd have called this mature. You know, like I don't consider strength 3 to be a particularly mature cheese. That's like one above like, I don't know, soft fresh goat's cheese, you know? Like I do like a more vintage of cheddar. So we got 7 is the most vintage cheddar we can buy at our local supermarché, and so we got a very large block of 7 cheddar, and I'm very happy about this because I love cheese. Anyways, as for the Gruge, I had not heard of this, but down in Texas, a bird has been discovered, which it turns out it has it's one of its parents was a blue jay and one of its parents was a green jay, because for various climate related reasons it seems like the territory into which these two birds fly overlaps now more so than it has in the past. And I guess these two birds fancied each other. They decided to let nature take its course. However, jaybirds make love. I haven't looked this up, and I don't think I care to because that's none of my beeswax. I don't know, something to do with cloacas, I assume. And lo and behold, one nesting season later, a beautiful bird that looks kind of like both of its parents was born. And I pulled up an article here so you can see. So on the left here we have a standard blue jay, who, as you know, if you're a Toronto baseball enjoyer, you'll certainly recognize. And on the far right there, we've got a green jay who is stunningly verdant plumage. And their baby, the Gru jay, apparently, who is also just very cute. I notice it's got quite a lot more of the coloration of the blue jay, but a bit more of like the shape and like face patterning of the green jay, and a little bit of the interesting sort of like white accents of the blue. It's cool. It's cool, and I love that for them. Also, let's ignore that banner ad because I don't know, banner ads are terrible and I hate them. But yeah, that's really neat. So congratulations, Texas, and to these beautiful parents for having a very unique baby. This tale of two jays began around 7 million years ago when both species split off from their ancestors on their own evolutionary paths. And now they've come back together again. And how romantic is that? And let's think about the fact that this is because of climate change, and climate change sucks. Let's think about the fact that birds are pretty instead, because otherwise I will get depressed. Anyways. Yay! Fun stuff. Anyways, Rex says, congratulations, Texas. What did they ever do besides be larger? I mean, apparently Texas sheet cake is pretty delicious, but they made a hybrid bird baby that was really cute. So good job. Also, I have ordered handmade soap from someone in Texas. And it smells nice and it doesn't dry out my skin. So, thank you, Texas, for that also. Anyways. This tea is adequate. I'm gonna be real, it's kind of mid. It's kind of a mid brew, but it's fine. Yum yum. Actually, I have 2 teas, because of course I have 2 teas, because it's me. Also, hello Rex, how are you doing? It's lovely to see you. Welcome in. Hello, hello. This is my, this tea has been sitting unsipped for like an hour now, so it's looking a little bit scummy, but it's just mint tea. Yep. That's delicious. Anyways. But yeah, that is... Thank you, Alquill, for bringing the Gruge to my attention. What a stupid name. But, it's neat that it exists. I do think it's actually quite interesting that, you know... That kind of reminds me, like, different species of tits here in the UK are known to, like, socialize together. You know, like blue tits, great tits, coal tits. But I'm not necessarily familiar with that they, like... You don't, as a result of that, see a lot of them... I don't think they do it with each other. That I know of. I mean, again, that's personal, and that's none of my beeswax. What, you know, I, an extremely amateur ornithologist, have no business in the bedrooms of the birds I think are cool. But as far as I know, they're not making a whole bunch of, like, hybrid tit babies. So that's interesting. But yeah, anyways. I love birds. Birds are fun. And I'm gonna pull up once again a reference image for myself for a Siberian blue robin. Siberian blue robin. Doop 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 doop. Yay! Of course. The very, very useful descriptive scientific name here. Larvivora cyan. Well, I mean, it is blue, so fair. Anyways, they're also very cute. And I'm happy to get to paint them. Okay. Rex says, I'm good. I've been looking for like an hour because a customer sent back 13 parts for being upwards of not 3 inches too large. Oh god, so I had to measure them all a lot and document it to prove or disprove the customer's claim before we come up with a plan. Only 6 of them were out of tolerance, which is plus or minus 0.00001. Wow. That sounds incredibly into the weeds of minutia of precision, and I admire your patience for being able to do it. My goodness gracious. But I hope that's all sorted, and now you can get on with your day. My goodness gracious. Okay, so I'm actually, you know what? I don't really have a lot of markings on this one. I'm going to mark out a little bit better. Sounds like a frustrating customer, says Owl Quill. Yeah, I agree. Okay, I'm going to mark out a little bit better. Because it kind of goes like this. What's it doing? And then the wing is blue, and then there's a little bit of blueness there, and then towards the tail we can see a little bit of blueness kind of returning, but there is a little bit of like sort of a little bit of blue mottledness amongst the white of the tummy, but it's very light compared to the head and wings and back and that kind of thing. So I think that's decent. I think this is decent. It's a very valid reason to reject parts, says Rex. That's fair. It's a frustrating customer though because they also demand we check every part under a 10 times zoom microscope to ensure there is no scratches. Wow, that I mean that is precision. And I do understand. I don't know what kind of parts you deal with, but I do understand the importance of like precision and having the correct measurements in a lot of things, because like if for instance if it just straight up doesn't fit whatever thing it's meant to be a part of, then it's not really gonna work, is it? So like I get that, but also that's a lot of, that sounds like again a lot of very precise and difficult patient work to do, for sure. Okay, I think I've got the plumage shaped the way I would like it to now, based on this one picture that I'm looking at. And once again, I'm just gonna start. Oh, this color's beautiful. Sorry, just this color. This color works very well, and it's also gorgeous. I love blue. I kind of got onto a bit of an earth tone kick in like the autumn and winter. But I could never be one of those people who's like super defined by like a very specific color or set of colors. You know, there are some people who just always wear black, like that's their thing, and it's very like recognizable that that's their like color aesthetic. I could just never do that, because I just like so many different types of color. Like sometimes I want to wear like earth tones. Like I want to get more into earth tones because I think earth tones are fun. I didn't wear earth tones really very much at all for a really long time because I was like, oh, you know, like my color temperature with, you know, sort of like my hair and skin tone and that kind of thing doesn't suit earth tones. And then, you know, like I hit my 40s and I'm like, actually, you know, I don't give a fluff. I don't care whether or not it's flattering. I want to wear a color because I personally think it's pretty. So if I want to wear like yellow and brown and sort of like warmer, like brownish greens and stuff, I'm just gonna damn do that. You know? I don't care whether or not it's flattering. Who am I trying to impress? Me. So tough biscuits. As you do. But, but I really like blue. I got the last thing that I got myself as a garment, as opposed to something that I made, was a dress that is a very deep navy blue, and I like the way that I think that color pairs well with a lot of things. I think it would go really well with like a gold color, or like it works well with white or off white, or like red, green, brown probably. But yeah, I like colors. Anyways, my boss will now discuss with them to try and fix it or scrap it, because we probably can't fix it without scratching it. Oh my gosh, Rex, that sounds like so much of a palaver, and I'm sorry. It makes getting dressed easy, says Alquil. This is true. I do have to think through in fairly a lot of terms, like who do I want to be today when I'm getting dressed? You know? I'm like, do I want to, how do I feel like expressing myself today? Or in some cases, how tired am I, and who am I likely to see? Will dictate a lot of things to do with like how I end up getting dressed. Because I mean, today I'm wearing some like waffle knit gray elasticated lounge trousers. And oh, look at that. I am indeed wearing a black t-shirt. So, and when I was a little colder earlier, I was wearing a large, very dark navy blue sweatshirt that says "Words are hard" in big letters on the front because it's true. It's also very soft and comfy and like 3 sizes too big. Rex says, I had no idea what this part is for, like most things, but it's some kind of aerospace thing based on the quality standard codes. Ah, sweet! That's really cool. That's really cool. Well, I hope all of the part stuff gets sorted as needed. That's really cool. Okay, I am watering down a little puddle of this blue quite a bit and trying to not have too much on my brush because I need just some feathery texture on the tummy. Because it's not quite pure white. There is some swatches of greater amounts of blue in amongst that. But not a ton. So actually, I think on reflection, where was my, I had a tissue. Oh, it's in my pocket. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Perfect. Okay. All right. That is the start of a Siberian Blue Robin. Aren't they just... They're so cute. They're so cute. Look at, oh, I just love them so much. I love them. I do feel like they're starting to develop personalities as well, which is very fun. Yes. Al Quill says, I got rid of most clothes I had that aren't beige or brown just to avoid having to think about which top clashes with which bottoms. I definitely see the appeal of that. I mean, there was a long time where I basically, like, I've gone through various phases of my adult life of being, like, having, like, a fashion sort of style aesthetic that feels very personal to me and that appeals to me, and just kind of being like, I'm too tired to think about what to wear. Like, when I worked an office job where I was in the office like 4 or 5 days a week, I started out wearing, sort of like smart little cute outfits for the office, and then eventually I was worn down to the point where I was so tired and so burnt out that I realized no one cares what I look like, and it is just easier for me to wear like a slightly baggy pair of jeans or like some skinny gray trousers and like just a flannel button-up shirt and a t-shirt under it every day, and that was pretty much my uniform for a few years. Not because it was like my definitive fashion sense so much as it was like, this is easy. And then every once in a while I'd like catch my reflection and be like, oh man, I look so tired. I just look tired and haggard and bad all the time. I don't like the way this makes me feel about myself or who I am or my body. That's not to say that, like, like, I still wear checked flannel shirts because I think they're cool. But I didn't feel like myself in that as, like, a uniform. And then when I started working from home more often than not, I started incorporating more interesting elements back into my wardrobe, like stuff that actually, like, appeals to me and that makes me feel good, and that it feels so good. I don't know. I realize that like expressing yourself through what you wear doesn't really matter to everybody, but it always has to me. And I kind of like being at a stage in my life where I'm not looking to impress anyone. I don't care about people thinking that I look cool, because no one's ever going to think I look cool. I'm middle-aged and like, fat and old. So I could just do what I want. And if I look like a clown's grandpa or I look like an 18th century milkmaid, cool. Okay. Sure. I don't care. And that feels great. Mm-hmm. Anyways. I do I do feel a little conflicted at the moment, actually, though, and this is one of those weird things where like there is a clothing brand that I've bought a couple of like garments from over the last some years, and I really like them. They're really comfy and beautifully constructed and yada yada yada, and only require minor adjustments for me to actually fit me because I'm short and my proportions are strange. Um, but also I don't think this is like the company's values, but I think because of like the type of clothing that they make is quite sort of like romantic and like vintage adjacent. They do seem to attract some like wearers who are like hashtag traditional family values, and I'm like, hmm. Now I don't think there's anything about me, no matter what I'm wearing, that says hashtag traditional family values. I'm very much here's where I stand on values, you know? And it's not traditional family ones. But I do have this like fear in the back of my mind that I'm like, if I'm walking around in this like, sort of twirly, fairly modest cottagecore dress, are people gonna think like, oh, traditional family values? I sure hope not. I mean, I'm also wearing, like a non-binary pride flag Starfleet pin. Um and yeah. I try and style it out in a way that doesn't say, hashtag traditional family values. I just like wearing big skirts and pretty things. Um, ah, but I mean, I feel like stylistically, there's that difference that I think not everyone is attuned to like recognizing between like you know is this person dressed in like let's say for instance if you tend to dress fairly sort of vintage inspired and quite feminine. I don't think I dress femininely at all. Even when I'm wearing skirts I don't feel feminine because I don't know, that word doesn't feel like it describes me in any way shape or form. I don't relate to it. But anyways, but you see someone who's dressed in like a quite sort of like vintagey feminine way. There are intricacies to say like the like queer femme version of that if you know what to pick up on, you'll probably be like, ah, yes, that's not a traditional family values, that's a lesbian, you know what I mean? But I always worry about people mistaking, and it's just a fact of existing that people are going to form completely false suppositions about me based solely on my appearance, no matter what I do, and I just kind of have to make peace with that. But I also, occasionally will try and pepper in things that hopefully signal to people that, like, no, stop it, If someone sees me and is like, ah, very traditional cishet person, it's just like something that just visually like smacks them on the end of the nose of the newspaper and says, no, don't you do it. Anyways. These are normal concerns. Yeah, I mean, I do try and make a point. Certainly when I'm online, I try and make a point of, and I know some people don't want to, I don't like making my streams into like let's talk about politics all the time but I mean it creeps in from time to time anyways, but I do think it's important that people know where I stand, because I want people to feel safe here, you know what I mean. I do not want people to feel safe to think that this is the land of traditional family values, for instance. No. Um, and so to that end, I do think it's important for people to know. What just happened? Why? Mira? Hello! I did not see the alert that something had happened. So that confused the living daylights out of me. But hello, Mira. Thank you very much for the raccoons. Very much appreciated. I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Thursday. Those raccoons were incredibly adorable, and I appreciate it very much. And that was a very fun jump scare, so thank you for that. We're painting robins today. Here they are. They are the. I just for the record, like this sheet of birds is not intended to kind of be like a thing in itself. I'm just. This is why they're all at like weird angles. I've just tried to find ways of like cramming as many of these birds as possible, and in so doing, some of them are just having to be like sideways and whatever, which I also think looks very funny. This poor South Island robin is just lying on its back. That can't be comfortable. I don't think birds do that very often. Just feet sticking up. But anyways, yes, I hope you're well. I hope you're having a wonderful Thursday, and thank you again for the raccoons. Much appreciated. I should probably get on with painting a bit more of these little creatures. What color should I do next? I'm kind of out of the territory of like the very bright hues for the moment, I think. So I will maybe put this paint palette to one side and fetch out, dun dun dun, the largely slightly more muted paint palette. Which, to be honest, I probably could have used this blue for the Siberian Blue Robin as well, but I think what we ended up with is really, really pretty, so it's fine. Ernesto, hello, welcome in. Happy Thursday, almost weekend. I am so happy for almost weekend. Oh my goodness gracious, I'm so happy for almost weekend. That is, as far as I'm concerned, a very nice development. Like, yay. Now the Japanese robin has like like a brownish gray, I would say. So I think I can use, especially on its sort of wings and like back feathers are more of like, if you look here, like the wings and the back feathers are definitively brown, and then it's got kind of a gray tummy. So I can probably use some of the brown I've got over here for this, maybe. I don't know. It's almost kind of like an ochre-y brown, as opposed to, I feel this is too much of a reddish brown for it, and this is kind of too like muted of a brown. Like it wants to be more of a kind of not quite. I don't think I quite have the right brown for this. I think I could try and put together a brown, but it's going to take some iteration, I think, to do it. So maybe what I'll do, if I were to take this and that and put them together, we might get something close to what I'm looking for, but I might need to then sort of dull it down a smidge. I'll start with our sort of like dark yellow here. And pop that onto my, turn this so you can actually see where I'm sticking paint. And then add some of this brown to it and see what that looks like. Actually, this could work. It might not be 100% precise, but you know, this isn't Photoshop. I can't just, God, this poor brush is dying. Look at these bristles that are just desperately trying to escape. No, I need a new brush. Like, this brush is becoming difficult to work with. I really need a new brush. Not having an amazing time with this brush, if I'm being honest. It's being kind of terrible now. And I am at the time of the month where I really shouldn't be spending any more money, so yippee! Pigeon, hello, welcome in, it's Burb Day! Welcome to Burb Day! We are indeed painting some bobbins. How are you? I hope you are well. I hope you're having the loveliest of lovely Thursdays. I'm going to start dropping down a little bit of this. I'm going to add a little bit more of the yellow to it, actually. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Okay, sweet. Let's just blend that out. A lovely brownness happening here, and a very difficult to work with brush now. I would use a different brush, but to be honest, I think the next brush along that I have is too big for the surface area that I need, and I need/want to be a little bit precise here, because I don't want to be coloring too much out of the lines and end up making a horrible mess of my poor little bird creatures. So yes. Um, it's been a bit of a day, says Pigeon. Had some suspicious activity in a stream I modded. No self promo, of course. I just had to ban someone. Oh no, not my stream. A stream. I worded that weird. I understand what you mean. You were modding a stream, and there was some suspicious user activity. Oh, that stinks. I hate when that happens. I do. I'm sorry. I hope that it wasn't too awkward or uncomfortable. But I mean that's what mods are for, and you know, good job you for being a good mod about it. But yeah, there's always a weird. I remember I had there was I occasionally have to. Thankfully, I don't have to like hit the mod hammer too hard very often. But there was somebody once who was like, talking about they were if you don't know, there is a no self promo rule here. Obviously, if I just want to shout someone out because like they're like a known and trusted user who like whose streams I sometimes hang out in, I will just choose to do that. Or if someone has raided, I'm always very happy to give them the like raider's privilege of providing like an art tax and giving them a shout out and doing all of that as a thank you for raiding the stream. But for various reasons, I'm not comfortable with people just like coming in and especially if you're an unknown quantity and you've just come in and want to like promote yourself. Please don't do that. Like if I don't know you and you're like, hey, can you show some of my art on stream? It's like, if I say yes to this, I'm potentially inviting. I'm never going to get anything done because I'm just showcasing other people's art, which, you know, like is fun to an extent, but also, you know, I'm also here to get stuff done. But also if I don't know you, if you're just dropping in looking for me to like show off a thing that you've done, that doesn't feel very nice. It doesn't feel very polite. But also, again, if I don't know you, I don't know that what you want to share is something that's appropriate for the stream. You know what I mean? I might be like, yeah, sure, you know, drop a link in chat. And then I look and I'm like, whoa, this is not our vibe. This isn't, you know, like if it's something like really inappropriate or like TOS or, you know, just something that is that we are not cool with here. You know, that's just like, no. Likewise, you know, if someone says something in chat like, you know, oh, I gotta go. I'm off to start my own stream. It's like, that's kind of towing the line of you're promoting yourself. Like, I know it's like if you have to go to start your stream, then obviously you can't stick around here. But it's kind of saying, hey, come hang out with me instead, which is not cool. Anyways, I remember there was this one person who was a fairly active user for like a little while in chats, and I felt so bad, but they were like, hey, yeah, while we were talking, I finished an artwork. Do you want to see? And I'm like, yeah, do you want to drop it in the Discord and I'll have a look at it after stream? And they were like, oh, well, I mean, I can just put a link in chat if you want. And I explained the whole, like, we don't do self-promo here, yada, yada, yada. I don't do, like, unless under very specific circumstances that are self-directed, I don't do, like, just unsolicited art showcases for people who aren't raiders. And they just disappeared and never spoke to me again. And I never saw them again on stream. And I felt so bad because they were, you know, like a regular chatter. And it was just a case of, like, enforcing a rule that has existed since the stream started. But I guess they were just so, like, I don't know if they were offended or embarrassed, but they just straight ahead that's like the last time I ever saw them. And I was very like, you are more than welcome to share in the Discord. There are lots of people in there and we would love to see it. And they just vanished and I felt really bad. But also, you know, like, rules is rules. Anyways, Pigeon says I completely get that. Definitely, it's very rude to come in and go, look at my stuff instead of the streamer. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, I think also just for everyone, if I ever have to enforce like a moderation rule, or like my moderator slash spouse or someone else who's mod has to enforce a moderation rule, it's not personal. It is just a rule. And, we're aware that not everyone is necessarily going to be aware of it. And unless you're acting maliciously or, like, you're brand new and you're just here to be, like, a ding dong. Hi, honey, what's up?
Don't speak for me, it may well be personal.
Oh, well, my moderator slash spouse says it may well be personal on his part, which I think is a joke.
Depends who it is.
For legal reasons, this is a joke. Anyways. Yeah, so was I saying? But yeah, like, it's not personal. But, yeah. Anyways. Anyways, I'm sorry you had whatever the moderation situation was over there. I'm sorry I went on a ramble about things that have happened to me. Yeah. I know, I mean, how shall I say? I realize that, like, different streams have different rules as well, and so sometimes people are just not aware of the fact that, like, oh, this thing that's okay to do in this one stream isn't okay to do in this other stream. For instance, it's not a hard and fast rule, but I do try and discourage people from, like, talking about, like, their ages and that kind of thing, because, well, we are an adult stream for grown-ups, and if anyone does express in the chat that they are underage, they're gonna get banned. But Rex says it's always interesting to hear about mod stories. I agree. I think it's also useful to hear about mod stories as well, especially as someone who streams and has to deal with, like, moderatorial decisions, because sometimes it's not easy. Some chats I'm sure are easier to kind of are better behaved than others or easier to wrangle than others, and some streams and chats have rules that are easier or more difficult to enforce. And again, as I say, like, not every stream has the same set of rules. So for instance, like, we're an adult stream for grown-ups, and someone is like, haha, I lie about my age, you get banned. That did happen. Someone was in our chat, and I mentioned something about, like, this is an adult stream for grown-ups, and they're like, like, whatever, I just lie about my age, everybody does. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, you're banned then. Sorry. Why would you say that? You're a very silly person. But, not everybody does have that rule. There are lots of people who are just like, yay, let's hang out, fellow teens. And so I always find it a little bit like, oh, there's teens in here. Okay, yep. And that's just fine. Yes. And reminding myself of, I'm always a little bit sort of like not sure what to do, like, because I'm not currently a mod, I think, in any other active streamers' streams. I think the only people that technically I might be a mod in are not streaming, so making moderatorial decisions is pretty much within the realm of my own stream. But occasionally I'll find myself in, like, someone else's streams, and I'm like, I will not backseat mod, but I also see someone in the chat who is contravening a rule I'm aware of. Should I tell someone, or should I let them deal with it themselves? And I usually refrain from saying anything, because it's also, if I'm not a mod in a stream, it's not my business to enforce the stream's rules for them. And it feels like a bit of an overstep. That being said, I am very appreciative when people in my own community are keen to kind of pop in and be like, oh, hey, by the way, that thing that you mentioned is part of, for instance, like, I'm playing through Silksong on Friday mornings at the moment, and I have not completed the game, so there's a lot of stuff that I have not encountered yet. And sometimes people will come into chat. There's typically, if I remember to do it, there's a pinned comment to say, like, please no spoilers or backseating. But every once in a while, someone will come in and mention something that is not actually a part of the game that I've experienced yet, and I don't know this. And so sometimes people will sort of, like, pop in and be like, oh, by the way, Sammy hasn't done that yet, so please refrain from talking about it. And I do appreciate when people do that. Anyways. Rex says, the only teens I want to hear about are the years before COVID. Yeah, exactly, yes. I mean, here's like, I am here for, like, intergenerational friendships. I think, like, as a teen, I like befriended and made the acquaintance of some, you know, very chill adults through various like shared interests and activities. And that was, I think, really good formative experiences for me. You know, I was very lucky in as much as most of these people were like chill and cool and just wanted to be like, hey, here's like some music you probably haven't heard of yet. Let me like make a copy of this very rare unre-released vinyl onto a cassette for you, kind of thing. And you know, it was just nice. But on the other hand, like as like a middle-aged adult, I don't really want to socialize with mostly teenagers because I'm a middle-aged adult. And there are probably like exceptions to this that are like, you know, teens that are cool and interesting that I would have no problem hanging out with. Like, you know, like my nieces and nephews are slash were teenagers and they're cool people and I'm happy to hang out with them. But as a general rule, I don't necessarily want to have to be responsible for safeguarding younger people in my stream because that's a whole other kettle of interaction that I'm not really comfortable with. Also, sometimes we talk about grown-up topics and uh I don't want to feel like I have to keep that in check and not be allowed to say words like, I don't know, foreskin or cloaca because there might be a like, you know, like a 16-year-old listening. Um anyways, um Rex says my Skong Modsword wants to fight so many people on Fridays. You get more of them than Kirsty did. Um uh yeah, I do. I mean, I love my Friday streams and I love the people who hang out in my Friday streams. But every once in a while there will be like a new person who I think maybe doesn't 100% grasp the rule set. But then sometimes there are also like phrases and phrasings that can be a little bit like I recognize that things can kind of be um ambiguous in translation, ambiguous in terms of intent. I've had this is a long time ago, and this is no one who's currently active, but I had someone get into like who was at the time a regular get into a bit of a spat with someone who was new because they interpreted something that that person had said as a backseat. Whereas I didn't see it as a backseat. I think all the person said was the person was curious to know what my progress was at that point in that game. I can't remember if it was Hollow Knight or Ori or like another sort of one of those 2D Metroidvania type games I seem to enjoy. But they asked if like I could look at my map so that they could see where I was in the game, and I think the reason that they wanted to know where my progress was so that they didn't say anything that may be interpreted as or that would be a spoiler for parts of for like areas of the game I hadn't been to yet, in terms of like asking questions or interacting. And so they asked me to like take a look at the map so that they could see where I was in the game. And I, you know, like I didn't consider that to be a backseat because they weren't saying like you should use this sword or you need to do this now or why aren't you doing that thing. So I was fine. I was fine with being like, yeah, here's my progress so far. I don't mind. You know, we're in a quiet bit of the game. I don't mind checking in. But someone took quite a bit of umbrage with that and thought that they were backseating and they got into a little disagreement and I felt really bad. So it is, but again, it is like kind of a gray area, and it's sometimes it's hard to make a call as to what is and isn't a proper backseat. I think I tend to try and give the benefit of the doubt to people. Sometimes it's very obvious, and I do get my for various reasons. Number one, because like, listen, I know I'm bad at video game, and I'm not necessarily always gonna do a great job. And so I kind of, if I feel like people are talking and behaving in a way that they also are acknowledging the fact that I'm doing bad at video game and it's like bothering them that I'm not doing things in a certain different way that they think would be better, I get my hackles up. I can get pissy about that, and it makes me not have fun. And I don't think anyone wants to see me not having fun playing video game. If I'm annoyed and having a terrible time and getting angry with you, that's not a fun time. So you should not do things that will make me feel that way. I have something that is called demand avoidance, which makes it sound like I just don't want to do stuff. I don't like that term, but basically what it means is if I hear someone say something to me that my brain interprets as a demand, um, my brain interprets demands as threats. And its response to that will just be, even if it's a piece of good advice, I'm gonna not want to do that, like as a reflex, because you told me to do it. And so it's like you should have just allowed me to arrive at that myself, which there's a good chance I would have done eventually. And even if I didn't, that's fine. I did it my own way, and I probably had more fun doing it because I wasn't thinking about, oh man, you know what, that thing they said was actually a good idea, and now I can't do it because they told me to do it, and I will not do what I'm told on my stream. But also, doing what I'm told on my stream sets a precedent that actually, if you do backseat, I'm gonna listen to you even though I told you not to. Which is bad! That is bad reinforcement because I really want you to not do that, and if you keep doing that, I'm gonna ban you, you know? Like, it sucks. So just don't do it. Anyways. Alquil says, for what it's worth, when I asked to see your inventory, the reason was the same. Noted that's too much, though, just saying. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I don't think that asking to see my inventory or asking to see where I am on the map, I don't consider that a backseat. If you were like, okay, what you need to do is you need to change out this weapon for that weapon and change to that other crest, that's a backseat. Or if you're like, why aren't you using that, but in like if I say, oh, because I'd rather use this, and your response is, well, you really should be using that one, that's a backseat. Rex says, you're doing great, you persevere without getting frustrated. I do get a little bit frustrated sometimes, but for the most part, I don't know, something about certain, like, repetitive tasks in video games I don't mind so much. So, like, I'm happy with it. You know, I kind of, when there's a boss fight where, like, the fight design is really satisfying, I actually get a little sad if I get it done in, like, 2 attempts. Because I'm like, man, that fight was really fun. I want to keep doing it. It should have been harder, so I would have been able to stick to it for, like, an hour. Which, you know, is probably for the best that they're not when they're not, because I'm already so slow making my way through this game, but anyways. Is it related to text not having tone, says Rex? I also usually read things as more aggressive than usually intended. I definitely do with certain types of statements. Like, for instance, if someone is asking why I'm doing something a certain way, I tend to read it in, like, a more aggressive or sort of accusatory tone. Like not like, oh, why are you using that crest? I read it as, why are you using that crest? You know what I mean? Like, it feels like a judgment, even if it's just curiosity. Which isn't fair, and I'm trying to curb my responses to that in a way such that it doesn't seem like I'm being defensive or snippy when I explain that, like, I just think it's neat, or I like doing it in this way because I find it more satisfying, or I find it easier to do it this way even if it's not optimized, yada yada yada. To try and be factual in my responses instead of assuming that people are being aggressive. If they respond in kind in a way where it's like, well, you should be doing this, that, or the other, then I know that what their intent was. Whereas if they're just like, oh, that's really neat, I prefer this, but I think it's neat that you prefer that, that's absolutely fine. Rex says, I also write very ipso facto, and people definitely read it as more aggressive than I intended. Tone is difficult with text and with chat text, especially. I think it's easier for me generally when it's someone that I know well, that, like, I can infer where they're coming from. If it's someone who's absolutely, like, 100% brand new to a chat and I've never met them before, it's harder for my brain to default to giving the benefit of the doubt, and I will work to make sure that I do, because I don't want to antagonize people who are not trying to antagonize me, you know what I mean? But sometimes for me it's a matter of learning that, and I don't know how my tone comes across in text, because I don't know. I text like a weirdo. I think whether or not I text the way that I just actually, like, naturally speak really varies also. Like, do I sound in text like I do in person? I don't know. I tend to, I think I think I tend to oscillate between sounding a lot more sort of like very formal and erudite in text form and um sounding very much the opposite of that and just sounding like lol me stupid. I'm just a little guy, you know what I mean? Sometimes within the same sentence. And I don't know how that comes across, but I try to express tone the way I intend to. Sometimes tone indicators are useful for this, um but also sometimes like the tone is just I'm saying a sentence and I don't know how to tone indicate that. Um Anywho. Alpil says, I have family who start their WhatsApp with a greeting and sign it as if they were writing a very short letter. I suspect you are less weird than that. I definitely don't do that. Especially if I'm sending a text message. I do not start with like, hello. It was nice to hear from you. I hope we can get coffee again soon. Yours sincerely, me. I do also have family members who will kind of do that, and I have family members who in their text form, like the way that they word things sounds very, I think, different than their intention. Like, they'll be saying something very kind or just asking a question, and I'm like, why do I feel like I'm being judged right now? And I know that's not the intent at all because I know how they talk, like, you know, in real life, but in their text messages it just feels like it just feels like, how, oof, what are you doing, why are you being so mean? But I know they're not, you know. it's just their unique way of writing text messages is sometimes if you didn't know them you'd be like, wow, ouch, like the razor sharp barbs on this person, and then you meet them and they're the absolute like bouquet of sunshine, you know what I mean? I think the next thing we need to do is color in some of this South Island Robin. But that might need to wait until after the break, because I've been rambling for quite a while. By the way, I love you all, and I'm happy you're here. I know I've been talking a lot about, like, moderation decisions and people making me nervous on streams and what have you. But I love you all, and I'm happy you're here. And if I do ever misinterpret something that someone has said in a way that is not the most charitable, I apologize for that. I'm trying my best. Anyways, but yeah, thanks for moderatorial chat, and thanks for Robin chat, and I'm looking forward to, oh my god, so if you don't know where we're at, spoilers for Silk Song for the next minute before we go to ads. If you don't know where I'm at right now, I am in a what do you call it? It's one of those fights, but instead of being a boss fight, it's just like wave after wave of like a bunch of sort of lesser enemies. And this one is relentless. And I get from other people who've been through this section of the game that it is particularly grueling. Woof. Having a challenging, it's one of those ones, I know I can complete this fight. I absolutely know with full confidence I can complete this fight. It's just getting to that one time that I'm able to do it that I haven't done yet, and I really hope we're not on it for the full 3 hours of tomorrow's stream, but if we are, so it goes. The Sisyphean task of fighting all them guys in the high halls continues tomorrow, but for now, we're about to take an ad break, and then I'll come back and clean some more burbs. So, BRB, everybody! Have a drink, have a stretch, take your meds, you know. I'm sorry if you have to see ads. I'll see you very soon. BRB. Hey, friends, I'm back. Hi, hello. Hello. It's wonderful to be back. Hello. Was attempting to look up some image references of South Island robin and their plumage patterning, so that I could, paint them. And in so doing, related search results popped up as like suggestions of other things you might want to look for, and I was alerted to the existence. Now I'm aware of the fact that this bird exists, but I had forgotten that this bird exists, and that is the South Island tomtit. Not only is Tomtit absolutely adorable name, and now I want to paint a Tomtit, but also look at the Tomtit! How heckin' cute is this Tomtit? Which, once again, what an amazing name. Hello, Tomtit. Your name is excellent. Tomtit! I love them. I wish to befriend the Tomtit. They're very cute. Well, at some point, I do want to paint like a variety of like tit type birds. So perhaps one of the ones I paint will be a tomtit. The least local to me as a British resident, certainly, because they're from. Well, that one in particular is from the South Island of New Zealand. Though you have tomtits on the North Island as well, which are a little different. But yes. One moment, please. I need to put on a jumper because I'm really cold now. Brr, brr, brr. Anyways. Hello, Sammy Ann. Welcome in. Welcome to the birds. I'm about to try and make up some plumage coloration for our South Island robin here. Oh, a little bit off screen. There we go. And yeah, so I was just talking about the existence of the South Island tomtit, which is another South Island resident bird, which looks like that, and I love them very much. And I'm gonna have to paint that. I'm gonna have to paint that one of these days, ain't I? Oh my goodness gracious! I want to paint the beautiful green. Are they parakeets? Maybe parakeets that live in Amsterdam. Because I saw many of them while I was there, all hanging out in some trees near the canal near our hotel, and I was so entranced by this massive conference of vibrant green birds in the trees that I'm gonna need to paint them at some point. Maybe riding a bicycle over a canal bridge. Could I be any more stereotypically Amsterdamer? I don't think so. Anyways. That's that. Okay, so the South Island robin has a lovely gray plumage and a sort of lighter colored tum-tum. So I'm gonna try to, and also they're just so cute. They're just so, like, these birds have such personality. Look at the personality on this guy. Also, these ones have quite long legs, which I think is very, very cute as well. I see a lot of pictures of them with their very... They're tiny. Here's one on a boot. They are very small, but they're quite leggy. They're quite leggy birds, these South Island robins. So that's fun. And I think they're just, no, I love them so much. Oh no, I'm feeling things about these birds, and all of my feelings are I love them. So I'm gonna try and formulate a gray. I'm not entirely sure what kind of gray I want to be using here. But anyway, Sammy Ann, how are you doing? I hope you're well. It's lovely to see you. Sorry that was such a long hello, but hi. Hi, hello. It's lovely to see you. The trouble with these robins is that I can't really tell which temperature direction the gray plumage skews in very well, because in some photos it looks like more of kind of like a slate with a hint of cool gray to it. In other photos it looks like it's quite a more of a warm gray with like a brownishness to it. So I really like that looks like, this looks like quite a cool gray to me, whereas this one right under it is much more of a warm gray. I don't know. Obviously, it's another case of it probably just depends on the specific bird in question and the day, but I don't know which to go off of. I think, maybe if I just stick with neutral tint and go as down the middle as neutral tint is, which is a neutral tint, that it's right there in the name. Go with your heart. What do you want to do? I think I'm just gonna make a start with the neutral tint, and go with that. Let's have a nice protracted stay at the neutral tint hotel. And again, if these aren't 100% sort of like naturalistically, scientifically accurate, that's fine, because like I am not a scientific illustrator. I am just a little creature who likes birds a lot. Um, and that means that I like to paint them. Okay, we're going off in all directions. In case anyone's curious, because I know this is like an interesting point of stream for a lot of people, I am making dinner tonight, and tonight's dinner is going to be it's kids menu tonight, pretty much. We have we have taters, which in this country they're called hash brown bites, but they're just, if you're American, you call them tater, you'll know them as tater tots. If you're Canadian, you'll probably know them as taters. It's just some potato that's been sort of chopped up into fine little bits and then compressed into like a 2 bite sized cylinder. And then you cook it in the air fryer, and it gets all delicious, and I love it, and it's good. Um, and you never used to be able to get them in this country. It's a fairly recent development that we're able to find them in the frozen section of the supermarché, and it is a development that I am 5,000% here for, because they are delicious. Having that with some veggie Lincolnshire sausage and some peas. Delightful. Anyways, Sammy Ann says they are your version of burbs, and that is wonderful. Oh, thank you. That's very sweet. Oh no, I accidentally zoomed this picture way in, and now I can't zoom it. Come back. Okay, I got it. I'm using this guy as a reference, for like my plumage patterning. I do love just. My method for bird painting is to just find like enough examples off of Google image search that I can kind of extrapolate that, okay, bird mostly looks kind of like this, and then kind of amalgamate poses and sizes and shapes and what have you from those. It seems to be, certainly in terms of birds that I'm not able to go out and photograph in person, the best way to do it. So I'm not like cribbing from like a single person's photograph. I'm just using a whole bunch of pictures to, because that wouldn't really be kosher. Or I try not to do that. Instead, I'm kind of just taking a whole bunch of references and kind of extrapolating my own bird from those. Okie dokie. That is a South Island robin, kind of. I'm headed home from work now. Have a good night, says Rex. Thank you for hanging out and thank you for chatting. And I hope you have a lovely rest of your evening, Rex. Thank you for hanging out with us. Patat, says Sammy. Ooh, is that the français of taters? My grandma used to buy them, and she always just called them taters. My grandma was does not speak any French, to the extent that this is my Canadian grandma. Does not speak any French, to the extent that her favorite cheese was specifically I can't remember if it was Cracker Barrel or another brand of cheese, but it was specifically the old cheddar. But on the packaging for old cheddar, in fact, I can probably find an example of it on the interwebs. The packaging which will be different to what I remember, but you'll get the, okay, here's a picture from Value Mart, which is a supermarket. If please be a reasonably sized image, please, for the love of God. Okay, yes, it is. What you'll notice looking at this packaging is that obviously this is a Canadian brand, this is a Canadian product, and therefore any information on the packaging needs to be in French and English. Ergo, you can see that they refer to this cheese as old, or in French it's referred to as fort, which is the French for strong, indicating that this is a strong cheddar, right? As such, my grandma would refer to this specific, like somewhat mature cheddar cheese as old fort cheese. Because of course this is a case of a linguistic false friend. My grandmother, not being in any way, shape, or form francophone, saw the word pho and was like, Old Fort. It's Old Fort cheese. And so she would call it Old Fort cheese. She'd say, "Yep, we're going to we're going to Zare's, and I need to get a box of nice and easy ash brown hair dye, um a jar of those nasty mustard pickles she liked, and a nice big block of Old Fort cheese," she would say. And like, we could have corrected her, but where's the fun in that? Because she was such a lovely lady. I miss my grandma. Anyways, she was wonderful. She was a wonderful person. She cared so much about her grandkids. She loved us. And she like was so generous. She always wanted to treat us to stuff. She didn't, she grew up, I think she grew up not having very much. And so when she was an adult and had, like a pension or whatever, she would spare no expense in like wanting to treat her grandchildren to stuff. Um and and she was just, she was always baking things, making butter tarts or fudge and lemon meringue pies and all that stuff. And if we wanted like treats, that like my mother would not buy, my grandma sure would. Oh, she was wonderful. And also she made, hands down, 100%, this is not personal bias, this is factual. Any member of my family who has interacted with this thing will tell you it is the case. She made the best butter tarts in the world. Hands down, 100%, no question. They were so good. They were so good, y'all. She was very perfectionist about these things. I'm gonna go out on a limb and suspect, based on the things that I know about my grandmother, that she probably had undiagnosed ADHD. Just like me. Which did result in very, I think sometimes being way too hard on herself about perfectionism and stuff, because I think she felt like she wasn't good enough. Um, but man, her butter tarts were amazing. Her butter tarts were always amazing. Thank you for the 55 stream steak. Holy crap. Thank you, Joe. I'm not here, but yay. Yay. Thank you for the 55 stream steak. Enjoy your 55 steaks. Don't eat them all at once. Oh my god. But, thank you. But Sammy answers, my granny referred to it as the fart cheese to make us giggle. Oh, that's hecking adorable. I feel like your granny and my grandma might have gotten along in that case, because my grandma loved a good fart joke. Sammy answers, side eye on the butter tarts. I have no doubt they were the best, as my Canadian grandma was also one of the best butter tarts. And you know what? I think there is absolutely space in the world for multiple Canadian grandmas having the best butter tarts in the world. I 100% do. I realize, again, this is entirely personal bias. And I think it can be true that my grandma made the best butter tarts in the world, and also that your gran made the best butter tarts, for sure. Oh. I am so sorry. Oh, I am so sorry. Anyways. But it is unequivocal scientific fact that my Hungarian grandmother... Thank you, Espy, for the bless you. I'm so sorry. Excuse me. My Hungarian grandmother does make the best honey cookies. I have tried to make the honey cookies. I'm going to try to make the honey cookies at some point using gluten-free flour, and that's going to be an adventure. I used to be pretty adept at making her Easter bread recipe. I have yet to figure out a gluten-free version of it that has the right texture, and I don't think I ever will, just because it is harder to produce like an enriched yeast dough bread at home that has the same texture using gluten-free flours as wheat bread. It's just really hard. But Also, there are certain ingredients that are just not available here that I've been looking for. Like there's this product called Expandex, which is just a type of tapioca starch, but it's a specific type of tapioca starch that makes your dough more like expandable, expansive, um, extensive. That's the word I'm looking for, and that is the elasticity of a dough is what you get from gluten in your dough. So anything that has not gluten in it is you're going to struggle to have a dough that has any extensibility. And I've been able to get a little bit of extensibility in my doughs with the use of things like xanthan gum, psyllium husk, that kind of thing. Um, but even so, when I have baked up my doughs, whether it's cinnamon rolls, or because I most of the dough, I don't really do a lot of bread baking because I don't need to. I can just buy a loaf of bread at the supermarket and it's fine, right? But in terms of like special recipes like Hungarian Easter bread, or kolács as we call it, or like cinnamon rolls, that kind of thing, like kanelbuller, which is not Hungarian. I just like them. But that kind of thing. Also, oh man, there was a recipe that my mother reminded me of that is turos something, which is like they're these little like cheese parcels that's got like a sweet sort of like traditionally it'd be like sort of like a farmer's cheese, kind of like a sweet. It's the most similar that I can find in my local supermarket is like a ricotta, right? Like that kind of thing. Sometimes there's raisins and a little bit of lemon in the filling, and then it's tucked into a little dough parcel and baked, and it's such good pastries, such good pastries. And I want to attempt to make them because I haven't had them in so long, and they're absolutely delicious. But again, it's a yeast dough, and yeast doughs in gluten-free are a lot harder to do. But I do have a new secret ingredient in my back pocket in addition to the xanthan gum, which helps with like, elasticity. And in addition to the psyllium husk, which helps with elasticity, I also have something called hydroxypropyl methylcellulose, which I purchased a bag of because I was like, okay, my bread products are missing something. They have somewhat more of like a yeasted scone texture, even when I am doing all of these things that should produce something that's a little bit more bready. They still are closer to a yeasted scone than like the sort of chewy, slightly stretchy texture that you get from like a bread, like a, sort of brioche or something like that, right? So I took a look at the ingredients lists of some breads that I've purchased, and I'm like, where are the differences in ingredients? Where are there ingredients here that are things that I'm not using? Like a lot of the flour blends are similar. They've got things like potato starch and rice flour and tapioca and yada, yada, yada. I've got all that. I use all that. It's fine. Brown rice flour, fantastic for gluten-free baking. Oat flour, fantastic for gluten-free baking. None of this is going to give you that chewy, stretchy texture you get from a bread dough, right? One ingredient I noticed on a number of ingredients lists for the gluten-free breads that I've purchased is this stuff called hydroxypropyl methylcellulose. I haven't tried to use it yet, but I'm really hopeful that adding, like a few grams of this to my next batch of bread dough, and probably the next bread dough I make is going to be my attempt at Hungarian Easter bread again this year. I'm hoping that a little bit of this HPMC, as it's known for short, or sometimes hypromellose, but I prefer HPMC because I'm like that, will make somewhat of a difference to the overall texture. I will, don't you worry, chat, I will be checking in and letting you know how I get on with adding HPMC to my bread dough. Hopefully good. Anyways, SB says been lurking, listening to you talk about text interpretations, birds, cheese, and butter tarts, and hello, and thank you so much for hanging out and for the lurk. I appreciate it. And sorry or you're welcome for the ramble I just went on about gluten-free flours. But it's been a little over a year now that I've been having to readapt my recipes, and some of them have gone really, really well. Like, I would say that in general, the cake that I made for our wedding anniversary was really good. The only thing that was not optimal about it was that it was a little denser, I think, than it traditionally would have been. But I think the reason that it was a little denser than it traditionally would have been is the fact that the baking, it called for bicarb as the only chemical leavener, and the bicarb of soda that we had in the kitchen expired like a year ago. So it might not have provided the most reliable lift to the batter because it was out of date. So, oops. But that being said, I made pancakes on Tuesday using
Attention.
entirely
Twitch
oat flour.
user Sammy Kelsch.
Choppers.
Never mind. Hi, Raiders. Welcome in. Welcome. Highsuit is here. Hello, friends. Welcome in. How are you doing? It's lovely to see you. Welcome. How was your stream? And hello. Destroyer, hello. Robert responds, welcome in. Casey, hello. How is everyone? It's lovely to see you. Welcome on. A gentle raid with blankets and tea. You know, I love that. I love that so much. Anyways, how was your stream? What'd you get up to today? Let me give you a little shout out in the chat. Happy to raid another traditional medium artist. Yeah, we're doing birdies today. We are doing some, we're doing some robins today. There's a little, a shout out for you in the chat. Hello, Co Daily as well. Welcome in. And Robert, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome. So for anyone who's just coming on the raid, hi, hello. If you are new here, hello, my name is Twitch user Sammy Kelsch. I'm a variety streamer. I do cozy art streams on Mondays and most Thursdays. I do cozy game streams on Fridays and every once in a while on Thursday if I'm feeling extra crispy. And today we're doing a few different species of robin. This is a Siberian blue robin. This is a western yellow robin. This is a Japanese robin. And this, of course, is a South Island robin who's very leggy indeed. I was doing some backgrounds for my paper puppet project. Ooh, paper puppet project. That is a tongue twister. As always, we are an art tax optional stream here, so if there's anything you would like to share with the class, I'd be very welcome to. If you have a link you can whisper to me, I would very much love to share it with the class. But if you just want to like dip, or you just want to relax or fade into the background, that is entirely fine as well. It's all good.
Attention.
Sam,
Twitch
hi,
user
hello.
Sammy Kelsch.
Choppers.
Hello, welcome in. Hello, it's lovely to see you. Welcome, how was your stream? Thank you so much for the raid. Welcome. Apologies to anyone who's hearing my intro twice, but hello, raiders, welcome. What were you up to today? It's so good to see you. Welcome. Let me get a shout out for you in the chat as well. And for anyone who has just come in on the raid, hello, my name is Twitch user Sammy Kelsch. I'm a variety streamer. Do cozy art streams on Mondays and most Thursdays. I do cozy game streams on Friday mornings and sometimes on a Thursday if I'm feeling a little spicy. And we're just painting 4 different species of robin from 4 different countries today. Because I developed a mild hyperfixation on robin species at the end of last year, and I'm following that through by painting as many of them as I can. So that's what we're up to today. For anyone who's not familiar with me, I'm a traditional artist. I work in mostly watercolor and other similar wet media. Occasionally dipping into other things like lino prints and that kind of thing as well. But mostly we do watercolors. I want to get into gouache a little bit more this year, but it's a question of being able to afford new paints. So I haven't done that yet. But anyways, Sampai, if there's what were you up to today? If there is anything that you would like to share with us, we are an art tax optional stream. But you are free to whisper me a link if you would like to. But if you just wanna hang, that is absolutely fine as well. It's all good. I was doing needlepoint of a potato design. I am intrigued. That sounds like so much fun. Oh, thank you so much for the raid again. And let me hold on, because I can do 2 different flavors of shout out. There was a raid fairly not too long before that, so let me get a shout out for you as well. There we go. And then we'll get another shout out for Senpai as well. Red Panda Party, hello, hello, welcome in. It's lovely to see you and welcome. Have I said hello to everyone? I hope I've said hello to everyone. If there's anyone I haven't said hello to, I apologize. Hybrid, hello, welcome in as well. It's lovely to see you. But yeah, we've been painting some robin species, and I've been most recently talking about attempting to bake a gluten-free bread and having a bit of an interesting time of it. It is a whole other kettle of science that I haven't perfected yet, but I'm getting better. I will say again, the pancakes I made for Pancake Day this past Tuesday were absolutely incredible. It is a time-honored and well-loved recipe in my family. But this year I made it with oat flour, and it was really, really good. So, yippee skippy. Good job, me. If anyone's curious as to what my artwork looks like when it's actually been fully painted, I can show you some of that as well. Actually, here's a robin I started earlier, everybody. Ta-da! Oh, potato pancakes, yes! I haven't had potato pancakes in way too long. They're so good. They're so good. That's so cozy. These were buttermilk apple pancakes with oat flour and maple syrup. Very, very Canadian classic. I've been making them for as far back as I've been able to cook, and they are a favorite in this household. But anyways, yeah, that's a robin I painted. Yeah, that's a European robin. That's the ones that we tend to find around here. As you can tell by my accent, I'm from the United Kingdom. I mean, I'm not from the United Kingdom, but I live in the... I've been living in the United Kingdom for almost 13 years. I think I can just about say I'm from here, right? Like, if I was just, like, talking to someone in random conversation and they were like, oh, so where are you from? I'd just be like, Oxford. Because I live in Oxfordshire. So, like, close enough. And they'd probably mean, like, where are you from, where at which point I'd probably give them a little side eye. Immigrant fun. Anyways, that's a heckin' cute Robinson Senpai. Aw, thank you very much indeed. Let me get another shout out for you as well, because I can do another one. Hopefully. Hopefully it'll let me. Yay, it did. Okay. Alright, wizard. Anyways, thank you. Thank you for the raids. I do appreciate it. I really do. Anyways, but yeah, I hope everyone's having a good Thursday. I hope everyone's had a good week. If you observed Pancake Day this week, I hope you enjoyed your pancakes. If you did something else this week, I hope you enjoyed whatever that was. To be honest, I'm probably not going to go on too much longer because I'm going to need to cook dinner at some point myself. I am, as I mentioned earlier, we're having what we like to call kids menu. Kids menu is basically a protein, some kind of potato I can just stick in the air fryer, and steamed peas. That's what we're doing tonight. We're having veggie Lincolnshire sausages, taters, aka what they call hash brown bites here, what they call tater tots in America, I believe, and steamed peas. So, yay. Kids menu is yellow. So yes, exactly. Exactly. It's delicious. And sometimes I just want that flavor of comfort food, you know what I mean? Especially if I am tired and I don't want to put in a ton of effort. Like tomorrow I'm making lentil pasta with freshly made kale pesto. So that's going to be somewhat more elevated, I think, but today I'm making kids menu. Sometimes one just wants yellow. Yes, exactly, yes. And you know, to be honest, like despite the fact that it's kids menu, it's reasonably healthy. You know, like frozen potato is fine. Potatoes are very nutritious foods. They're very filling. Full of fiber and some vitamins and stuff. We've got some peas on the plate for some nominal greenness. Peas also, you know, a good source of vitamins and fiber and some protein even. There's protein in green peas. That's a good. And the vegetarian Lincolnshire sausages, I assume, are a healthy source of protein, though I haven't actually looked, because I was just curious because I don't think I've had Lincolnshire sausages from this brand of sausages. And I've liked other non-meat containing Lincolnshire sausages that I've had, so, you know, what the hey. Anyways. Now it's gonna bother me if I don't find out. I'm just looking up Linda Lincolnshire sausages. Tell me how bad for me are they? Anyways. Nice. No joke, gonna get my plate of potatoes. Hell yeah. I hope you enjoy them. That sounds absolutely delightful. I do love potatoes. I really do. That's one of the things I really appreciate about this about the country I live in, which is the United Kingdom, is just the preponderance of potato goods are significant. There's a lot of it. Anyways, let's see. Ooh, actually, wow, I'm eating a lot of peas today because apparently the primary ingredient of my Lincolnshire sausages is rehydrated textured pea protein. All right. Not gonna lie, part of the reason that we bought them is that they are also wheat free. And if I have a tiny amount of wheat, like, I'll be fine. I now have potato pick link if you were interested, says Senpai. Ooh, can you whisper it to me, please? Links are not enabled on stream, like on chat, but if you can send me a wispy, I can share that, because I would you had me at potato, friend. So heck yeah. We will definitely do that, and we might raid shortly after that, because I am, how shall I say, a tired bear, and I need to cook. But I would very much like to see potato. Okay, I've got a number 1 on my DMs. Let me grab the link, and we'll go take a little look see, shall we? Let me get that up and running. Oh my goodness! This is lovely. This is so lovely. Oh, I love it. This is awesome. Okay. This is so very much my vibe. Y'all, get a load of this. That's so good. That's so cool. Oh, I love this. That's such a fun design. Man, this is the kind of, if I had like infinity amount of time, this is the kind of skill I would love to pick up, doing this kind of like needlework stuff. That is so lovely. I love this. I love this design. That's so cool. That is so cool. And the fact that it's potatoes just brings me so much joy. That is so good. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. That rocks. Hell yeah. I love to see it. It's been under work for such a long time, but I'm just determined to finish it this year. You can do it. I believe in you. Yes. 100%. This is my claps of enablement here. You got this, my friend. I believe in you. Yes. Yes. 100%. Speaking of getting things done, I'm going to put one more color, I think, onto my this, and I think it's going to be this little guy, which needs their bits of the bird that are gray. Is what I think. I think I can do that much before we take off for the day. Maybe I can add the Japanese robin's tummy as well, but we'll do this guy in the first instance. I'm just gonna use the same neutral tint that I used for the South Island robin, because it's not wholly dissimilar, so I think it's close enough. And I'm just gonna, I might actually just mark out really lightly here. There's a little like just bit of chin that is white. So I want to make sure that I don't accidentally paint that in with gray. This brush is once again absolutely dying. I need a new brush so super bad. And at this point, it's just a question of when will I be able to justify making a purchase from the art supplies shop so I can get a brush that's not absolutely just scuffed and ruined and real scruffy. Because yeah, this, like, I lost like 2 bristles on this trying to just like paint the Western Yellow Robin's tummy, which sad, but so it goes. Unfortunately, brushes, like so many things in life, are not permanent. They come into our lives, they enrich our lives with their brushability, and then sadly at some point they leave us. And that is a very sad time, especially if they were a good brush. And this was a very good brush. And I think, having tried to look up replacements, I think what I'm going to end up needing to do is buying a brush that's a similar diameter and shape, but is longer in bristle length, and actually just cut down the the bristles myself to like the length that I want them to be, because I cannot find one that's this short, at least not from my usual supplier. So it looks like I'm gonna have to manage that myself, which is a little scary, but yeah, it'll be fine. Okay. And just trying to capture the bits where the gray kind of fades into the yellow here, and they do overlap a little bit, so hopefully that'll do for now. Obviously, this is not the final iteration of any of these birds' plumages. They will be having, I cannot see what I'm doing here with this tail because my camera is in the way. But they will be having, like shading and some nice feathery textures. This is just the first pass where I'm trying to get, you know, the initial raft of colors down. So that was the Western yellow, and I need the last color for the Japanese robin, and then I gotta go cook dinner. Apologies for the fact that I'm going to be taking off shortly, but thank you very much for hanging out with me. I've been having a lovely time. Okay, so the interesting color variation on the part of the Japanese robin's gray tummy I'm noticing here. So I've picked up a little bit of blue, but what I'm going to do is kind of, this is a fun little gradient here, I think. It's a little bit too dark. There we go. Okay. Fun little gradient here. Now this is all gray, but you know, when you look at a whole bunch of grays in isolation, you start to notice all of the different undertones of said grays, and there's definitely some differences in undertone happening in these grays. Namely, that I noticed that sort of there's a bit here that's almost more of a bluish gray. And then the rest of the gray is almost slightly brownish in comparison. So I'm going to pick up a little bit of brown and add it to our gray to try and capture that energy. I managed to make a link for my project, as I said, if you want to see. Yes, I would absolutely love to. Can you whisper it to me if you haven't already? I would very much love to share. Very, very, very much. But yeah, absolutely. 100%. That is Raider's privilege, and I'm always happy to provide. Senpai says, I forgot to tell you the I'm trying my best birdie sticker is decorating my planner cover this year. It's such a mood. Oh, thank you. That is, by the way, I'm so bad at self-promo. It's still available in my shop, but if you were thinking of buying anything from my shop, hold fire. Don't buy anything from my shop right now. And I say that because I just received a number of items that I'm going to be updating and adding to my shop probably tomorrow, or Monday at the latest. So if you wanted to get anything from the shop, you might want to just hang about for like 2 days, because I'm adding more things, and I don't want you to feel like, oh man, I just bought some stuff and then they added even more stuff. And now if I want that, but now I want that new stuff too, but if I buy that new stuff, then I have to pay for shipping twice or something like that. I don't want that for you, so don't buy anything right now. Which sounds like a really weird thing to say don't buy anything right now, but I just want you to save your money. Just in case you want anything from the update. There's just a couple of bits and bobs. But some things that were by request of some people who wanted to buy prints of certain things, that are available in very, very limited edition, and then a couple of stickers and some other prints as well that I just thought hopefully people will like. I don't know, it's really hard for me to tell. But I guess we'll see. But anyways. Okay, I've got another link here. Thank you so much for sending this to me. Oh, there's 2 of them. Okay, sweet. I'll get 2 tabs open. Thank you very much for sharing. I do appreciate it. But yes, if there was anything very like, oh my gosh, this is delightful. If there was anything very like imminently that you were like, I really, really want this, it'll still be there in 2 days. So also y'all are the first to know. So yeah. Penman Inc., thank you very much for the follow. Welcome on in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are about to go take a look at some the Sunfish is back. We're going to look at some work from Isage or Asage. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Well, as always, if I'm horribly mispronouncing anybody's names, please just let me know. And I do apologize if I do. Anyways, this is so gosh darn adorable. So let me show you. Let me show you. Where is it? Where's my show and tell screen? There it is. Don't get a load of this little cutie. This is absolutely delightful. So cute. I love your textures. I love the just this medium. And oh good, it has popped up. Go away. No, I don't want to. I don't want to look at the none of the ads. Close. Okay. But look at that. That is so cute with the little trees and the landscape in the background. I love like the looseness of the way that you've used like the paint or ink and the bleed of it. It's such a good texture. It's such a good texture, and this creature is such an absolute friend, and I just love it so much. I love the curvy shapes of the horse. Yes, it's so cute. Yeah, I thought that looked like ink. That is some really beautiful like manipulation of the ink's attributes and the way that it will sort of like bleed out like that. That is so, it looks so cool. It looks so cool. I absolutely love it. Excellent job. So thank you again very much for sharing that. And I think thank you for taking a look. Of course. I love seeing what our rating artists have been working on. It's just, I think it's a really nice way to connect with other folks in the art stream community, and I just love seeing the breadth of what other people are creating. I find it very inspiring personally. So yeah, I'm always very happy to share. And also, you know, like if you've rated in, I would like other people to check out the things that you like and maybe give you a follow. And I think that's nice too. Anyways, you know, community, blah, 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 that kind of thing. Good stuff, positive, happy times. And on that note, I think I am going to rate out now, if that's okay. Because I've got to go cook dinner. That note, I think I am so tired. And I think I've lost the ability to talk good. So I think now would be a good time for us to go say hi to a beautiful friend. I think that would be really nice. So let me see who's on, who's maybe with, oh, okay. I don't think we've rated this person in a little while. So I think this would be a nice person and a very nice, chill person and a good artist. Let me just 100% make sure that they're not just about to finish, because that'd be embarrassing. But if they're not, I think this would be a good place to land for us. And they're working on some art. Rad. Okay, let's go say hi. Let's go say hi to Jenga, who is delightful and fun, and I don't think just about to finish. So, but also, oh no, now my for some reason every time I start a raid, my computer decides to just stop working correctly, which is super fun. I don't have any robin emotes, but I do have a kiwi bird, and a kiwi is indeed a bird. So though they may be flightless, they're from the same country as one of the birds we've been painting today, so that feels valid. So I'm going to drop some kiwis into the raid message. If you have the emotes, feel free to grab the raid call with the emotes. If you don't have the emotes, you could just say generic raid message, or append any cool emotes that you do have. It's all good. I'll be back tomorrow morning playing some Silk Song, which I anticipate is going to be a fun time, or at the very least, a time. So, thank you very much for dropping in, Katie. It's lovely to see you. And thank you to everyone for hanging out. Thank you again to Isut and to Sampai for the raids. Very much appreciated. And I am very excited to be eating some Lincolnshire sausages and taters and peas for my dinner very shortly. So yeah, thanks very much, everybody. Have a good one. Take care. Good night. And good luck.